Welcome back, frenemies. Episode 52. We're going to week 11 in the NFL here, fantasy-wise. It's an awesome week. So awesome. We got a man in a bacon costume over here. Got Sean. This is Sean on my right, the commission of bacon costume. I'm your host, Chris, here. And special shout-out to our fans and listeners in Australia. We've gone international, Sean.
Yeah, I guess so. Not just the States now.
No, we're outside. And yeah, even though they listen to like Australian rules football, it's okay. They still play fantasy.
Okay.
They know what's going on over there. But can you let the listeners know why you're in a bacon costume?
Yeah, so if you're not on YouTube, you probably should jump over there if you want to watch me be embarrassed. Yeah, I'm wearing a ridiculous looking, it looks like I'm a strip of bacon, literally.
Yep, you're a strip of bacon.
And I lost the bet. We had a bet. This is my punishment for losing the Juju bet.
Yes.
I had Juju as a top 15, or not getting into the top 15 of wide receivers when they played Miami. Thought Xavier Howard would shut him down.
Yep.
He did, but then he got hurt. And then Juju went off. So here I am wearing bacon.
I was so happy I didn't have to wear a costume for the second time.
Yeah.
But
The shark was enough for you?
Yeah, it was enough. I don't know. Bacon might have been a lot better to wear than that shark costume. Still in the corner of our studio. I was like, I ain't taking that home.
Yeah.
But yes, and thanks to your shout out to your little sister.
Yeah, that's right. My sister, she's the one who owns this bacon costume. I don't know why she owns a bacon costume, but she owns a bacon costume. So thanks, little sister.
Why?
Kirsten.
Kirsten, why do you have a bacon costume?
My brother bought it for her. She's obsessed with bacon. So
Are you kidding me?
yeah. So let's switch it up a little bit here. We got Talk of Town. We'll go to, but first let's get to our party question.
Ian, I'd like to go to a party in my pants.
Party.
No, Brick.
All right, let's go.
All right. So our party cue. This is for Kirsten here.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite way to eat bacon?
Yeah, so she loves, back to the story, she just is insanely in love with bacon. Like, just her whole life, that's like the food, that Kirsten likes is bacon.
She's like skinny as a twig. Like
I know, but she's eating lots of bacon. So I didn't do anything.
You're telling me I need to go on a bacon diet.
There you go.
There we go.
All right, so yeah, we thought it'd be fun to do, it's just bacon, it's not like, do you like bacon or don't you like bacon? Because the answer is yes.
Yes.
Bacon is fantastic.
If you hate bacon, why?
That's true. I don't know if I want to be friends with you.
Yes.
But
It's over.
I thought it'd be fun to look into, the best way to eat it. Some people just want it straight up. Some people want it on stuff. So I'll go ahead and go first here. On a burger. That is for sure the way that I love bacon the most. I'm a huge burger guy.
Oh, me too.
I love making my own burgers, and I don't get the full taste of the burger that I enjoy unless there's bacon on it.
Yeah.
Bacon cheddar cheeseburger, just can't go wrong. It's the original, but it's amazing.
See, going off of that there, I would choose that, but sometimes I hate places when they put a crispy bacon on a burger.
Oh, I don't mind it.
I hate the crispy part. I want that the thick applewood whatever sliced bacon. Like you get it just even your main places like Chili's and stuff. Sometimes you get a lay in there that's comes like one with the patty. But when you give me a crispy one, it kind of falls around. It's like I don't like that. I don't want to crunch on my burger.
It's the texture differences. You got to open your palate, Chris.
Well, yeah, no, maybe it's just a lot for me. But for me, I like it plain, straight up. Breakfast time's my favorite. I don't like it mixed in with things too much, but it has to be that perfect balance between a little bit of chewy, like a little on the fat end, and then.
So you don't want the limp bacon.
And I want the limp bacon, but
I know some people that like it undercooked, and I'm like, that's disgusting.
No.
It's just like
I gotta get it balanced right before it gets too crispy to where it's straight.
So I was gonna say it'll hold straight, but it won't crunch when you eat it.
The ends will bend down a little bit.
Sounds like you're a
Yes.
hard one to cook for there, Chris.
It's maybe a little bit. I'll put it in the pan, and sometimes I'll screw it up myself, and so I'll cook my bacon in the pan so I can try to eyeball it. Instead of one of those guys that put it in the microwave or the oven, I'm on the frying pan. I'm watching it. Then I know the perfect time to put it on the paper towel and let it dry off the oils. It's perfect in the fatty.
Yep. So just let us know in the comments what's the best way to eat bacon, because I'm sure you have some thoughts there. Let's move on to the talk of the town here. We got a lot of news. Why don't you hit the first one here? You thought this would just be a fun nugget to go over.
Colin Kaepernick, no fantasy value. Honestly, no fantasy value. But it's just so interesting. Took this long to get him a tryout in the middle, going into week 11 on a Saturday before the football.
I know.
it's just odd. From what I hear, rumors are that the receivers he'll be throwing to, he hasn't worked with. That if you know anything about combine and workouts, you want to throw to receivers that you know. So it's you got that comfort level.
Yeah.
So it's really odd. And then we don't know how many teams are actually be represented. I've heard things like 7, but it is going to be filmed, so everyone's going to watch it that following week. But there's a lot of guys that believe that he will be on a roster as somebody's backup in the next week or two. But I just think it's really odd. Is it a publicity stunt by the NFL?
Yeah.
Or was he just randomly choosing this week to work out? I'm not sure because there wasn't any major injuries and stuff. So I'm not sure where you're going with that. So no fantasy value. It's just really cool nugget to talk about.
Well, moving over to the fantasy side, something that hurts me personally.
More than
Kittle.
that bacon costume?
I don't know. This is pretty high up there. The Kittle injury, that knee injury. I don't know if you have Kittle. Last week he was out with it. There was kind of some drama back and forth where he was declared out, kind of, and then Shanahan came out and said that he's not officially out. It's like they reserve the right to start him is almost how he made it sound like. But I have to believe Kittle's not going to play this week. He hasn't practiced all week. He's continuing with this knee injury. And yeah, it sucks because the tight ends are not easy to find right now. Hooper went down as well. That's another one we don't have in here, but Hooper's likely to miss a month. So people are going to be looking for tight ends. I picked up Greg Olsen. He happened to be in my waiver wire. Eric Ebron's another one that I picked up in a different league. So yeah, just get on those waiver wires because you're going to be without these, huge tight ends that were probably carrying your team.
Well, going with Kittle and then also Emmanuel Sanders, we're not sure if he'll be ready to play either. And so this also then hurts Jimmy Garoppolo. Honestly, I believe that's what kind of really kept Seattle in the game because Garoppolo had nobody to throw to but his running backs.
Yeah.
So the game plan is extremely tough there. So guys who have Garoppolo as your quarterback might want to have to bench him or look on the waiver as well.
Yeah, I went the way of Derek Carr this week over Jimmy Garoppolo just for those reasons.
The matchup is pretty good for Carr as well. But yeah, it's no weapons for Garoppolo to throw to.
Yep.
So yeah, off that tight end thing. We got Brissett, coming back. He should be back. I got him in
and
my
all
Yahoo
the Colts
league.
fans praise Jesus, right? You lost to the Dolphins last week.
That was so.
You got Brian Hoyer. That's what happened.
Yeah, Brian Hoyer didn't seem too bad against Steelers, but then was just really bad.
Yeah.
Against the Dolphins. You guys know my fantasy rule number 1 this year is you start anyone against the Dolphins, but
I don't know, Chris.
not
We're on a
Hoyer.
Two-game
Hoyer's
winning
going.
streak here.
Oh, my
That defense
goodness.
starting to step up.
There must be a new bonus coming to the Dolphins for not tanking. Hey, we got to make it look real. You get a 6-figure bonus.
Well, they watched Tua and realized he's maybe not.
Yeah,
worth
we don't
it,
want to tank. Let's wait for the next year. Yeah. Let's go with who's the next one? Breida out. Matt Breida is.
Yeah, all these San Francisco players.
When you play Seattle, it looks like you get on IR real quick here.
So Breida is a hard one just because he's done this over and over and over again. It looks like he's going to miss, and then he ends up playing through it.
What was his injury again?
He aggravated his ankle injury.
That's right.
It's a low ankle sprain. He went and got a diagnosis that's looking like 1 to 2 weeks, but he's going for a second opinion. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. You're going to have to keep tabs on it. If he's going to be out, and if it's for more than a week, then Raheem Mostert, pick him up. I think you can play him. We've seen what that San Francisco running game looks like. I feel like I can't focus with this bacon costume.
The costume,
You're staring at my bacon.
I
feel violated
straight
right
over
now.
there, dude. It's like I keep thinking about breakfast.
I see
food
lust
right
in
now.
your eyes for my bacon.
It's been a while since I had some bacon for breakfast. When I go, I'll probably get bacon on my pizza tonight when we go short break there. But no, you're right there with the start. I had some guys hit me up about just how can you tell the running back situation in San Francisco based off the game in Seattle?
Yeah.
Tevin Coleman didn't come back in like that last drive to overtime. It was almost.
There's not really any news of him missing, so.
It was, and I told him it was just a play call thing. They're just trying to get into field goal range with fresh legs of a run behind the pads type of running back.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, what it is in San Francisco, you can start whatever the 2 top options are, just because their running game has been so successful with Kyle Shanahan, and it's going to be a split. You have to be prepared to know if they don't do well that week, you may get your 3-point week from Tevin Coleman or something. So you just have to be ready for that volatility. If they have a great matchup this week, they do against Arizona. I expect them both to be startable options.
Yeah, so coming off that week there, Tevin Coleman, shout out to Lewis. He was telling me he needed 1 more carry with 3 yards, and he would have won that week. So
that's a rough one.
Usually you got a running back going into an overtime game. You're like, yes, because more stats.
Yeah.
Didn't work out there with him. And then really quick, we'll touch on Devontae Freeman injury. Brian Hill. He was looking pretty good last week.
He got a lot of work.
Ton of work in Atlanta.
They've turned to him completely. It'll probably split up a little bit more. I think it was more of just on the spot that he was the backup. They hadn't prepped. I forget who the other. Kenyon Barner, I think is the other one. So
because Ito Smith is out.
Yep. So they're very thin there. So he's just on volume alone. He's going to do well. He's got a good matchup this week against Carolina. Yes, the Panthers. So I think that you can pick him up off the waiver wire and put him right in. I think I thought about putting him as my start. Just because I think not only can he be a flex option for you, I think he's an RB2 this week. He's just going to get so much volume against a defense that has not done well against the run. So.
No, that's a good one there. All right, man. So from our talk of the town, we went a little out of order, the party cue. So let's go fantasy football Tinder.
Hey.
How you doing?
You doing?
Time to the head. That dramatic pause. But I don't have the game like Joey did. All right, so fantasy football Tinder is basically our start sit. We look outside of the top 15 every position here. So we'll start off with the running back. Sean, I like your start here because it kind of goes off of what I said last week.
It kind of does. It's kind of like I took your.
And you were doubting me, and you're like,
I was wrong, and I'm in fantasy you got to be willing to admit when you're wrong and move on, or you will,
or you wear a bacon costume.
Yeah, or you'll wear a bacon costume. Exactly. So you got to know when to fold it. Like if you didn't guess correctly on some player, a good example is I went in big on Ty Johnson and I dropped him this week. I'm not hanging on to it. It's $77 of my fab, but it's not worth it to just take up your bench spot if he's not going to be worth anything. So with Kenyon Drake this week, he's playing San Francisco. This is kind of a confidence boost play. I don't think he's gonna blow up and be an RB1 for you this week, but we saw what he did last week against San Francisco, or 2 weeks ago against San Francisco. He was in a worse situation than he is right now, where he was just getting off the plane a day before, or a couple days before. We weren't even sure what the workload was going to be, and David Johnson is back, but is he really back?
It's a shell of himself. I was watching the game against Tampa. And Drake was very well game planned in there. He was part of the offense a ton. But yeah, David Johnson, some of those stretch plays on the outside, he looked really slow and hesitant.
Yeah, I think the injuries have just culminated, and I really think this might be a lost season for David Johnson. So Kenyon, I just think that he's going to take over that lead role. I honestly think next week or this coming week against San Francisco, he'll get the more carries. And then San Francisco's been a hard defense to play, but not in the last couple of weeks here.
No.
So they played Arizona. We talked about, he had a big blow-up game against them. But the last 3 weeks, they've averaged giving up 111 yards per game, and then also a touchdown every game. So if you give that stat line, even if you break it up a little bit between David Johnson and Kenyon Drake, that's plenty to get your some fantasy value in your flex.
And you look at the 49ers, they have a great front four. For a lot of pass rush.
Yep.
If you dive deeper into the linebacking core, Quan Alexander's injury, him being out, that's a lot of tackles missing there. And I think that's that piece where we're starting to see guys run the ball a ton on them.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Carson looked great last week against them. So I just think you can, kind of put aside your amazing San Francisco defense and, things have changed a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit there. Who's you swiping left on? Who you sitting?
All right, so I'm going to sit the Eagles running backs versus New England. So
all of them.
Yeah, whether you have Jordan Howard
Miles
Miles Sanders, I'm not going there. I know that New England looked vulnerable against the Ravens, but now Bill Belichick has had a bye week. And when he has a bye week, he has time to prep. When he has time to prep, then they dominate. And that's what I think is going to happen. They're going to rebound. They're going to want to, get back on top. And so I'm afraid that if you've been playing Howard, he's been pretty steady, but in this game, I could see it being one where the Patriots just trounce them and they're not able to, continue to run the ball. They're going to be playing from behind. And so with the Eagles running backs, I'm hands off this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then you look at the flip side there, they have a terrible pass defense.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They're going to be coming from behind there a little bit more. So I'm swiping right here on the Buffalo running backs, going against my number one rule: start everyone against Miami. Even though your Dolphins keep winning here in 2 weeks in a row, I'm still going to say start him. Singletary, he's right outside the top 15, so I was able to choose him.
Okay.
But he's gone up to 16
Yep.
here lately, and I think he still has a good run.
Hope for
Running
the sake
role.
of my team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sucks. I've done 2 trades with this guy, and it's been like nothing but helpful to him this season. I don't know why I keep trading, because I think I keep getting something back, but I
Well,
don't.
trade deadlines happen, so you're safe.
It's done. But anyways, I have to learn next year. And then looking at round 30s, low 30s, 38th in ranking and half PPR, you got old man Gore.
Okay.
So
So in a deep league, you're saying
deep league, you're looking if you need to put him in a flex or RB2 because of bye week still going on. You can still start him against Miami because he might be a touchdown vulture and get
Okay.
you good points. I'm swiping left. I'm sitting Sony Michel against Philly
Okay.
because
So we're sitting all running backs in that game.
in that, I know. I was like, but yeah, I just don't feel. It's gonna be game plan thing here, right?
Yeah.
The deep pass defense of Philly is bad, so James White's gonna be in the game a ton.
Yeah.
Just to expose it, to isolate backers in the pass game. You see a lot of James White thing, and Philly's like, we're going to be good at one thing, we're going to stop you on the run game. So you're not going to get a great game in there. The only thing you hope for is a little last second touchdown, but I
I was
don't
going to say
see
the 1 yard touchdown's the only thing that probably
Yeah.
will save you in this
'cause
game.
he might get 40 to 50 yards rushing,
Yeah.
and then 1 touchdown. That might put you over, but I can't trust that.
Yeah.
I can't trust
bank
that
on
one.
those touchdowns.
All right, on to the wide receiver position. Sean, let's go here. You swiping right on. Who you starting?
All right, so Mohamed Sanu, he's playing the Philadelphia Eagles. We just talked about that
We love
secondary.
this game.
Yeah, apparently.
Fantasy.
I just think the Philly defense is 25th against wide receivers. He had 14 targets in the last game against the Ravens. So
Wow.
we've kind of were waiting to see when he was going to get integrated into this offense. It's happened. I mean, 14 targets. He is now a part of this offense. And I just think that you can just go ahead and just start him right up. They gave him a second rounder for him. He's obviously going to continue to be used, and I'm not saying he's a wide receiver 1 this week, but if you need a solid flex play, Mohamed Sanu, somebody you can plug right in there. I think.
I like it. I like how they were using him
Yep.
there in New England. Who you swiping left on? Who you sitting?
All right, so we're gonna get away from that game finally, but I'm Marvin Jones. I'm very scared. This week, we may not get Stafford back. There's still, we'll have to wait and see. With Stafford back, it's a little bit easier to get him into your starting lineup.
Right.
But if he's not back, and is it Driscoll or something?
Yep.
Yeah. So if Driscoll's in, I would be very afraid of this. This is a scary one for me to say, just because Marvin Jones has a history of just blowing up in a game.
He's a boom or bust guy.
I could be proven wrong here, but he's playing the second-rate Dallas defense, and I'm afraid to start him without having Stafford. That offense has just plummeted without Stafford in there.
Right. And that pass rush for Dallas is getting better and better, so poor Driscoll.
Yeah.
He's going to be running around.
What about you, Chris?
All right, so I'm swiping right to start. And Scary Terry McLaurin for the Redskins. He was my boy early on. And I think against the Jets, it's a decent matchup going in. But I think finally the coach named Haskins the starter.
Yep.
Going back to college, Haskins and
Rest of
McLaurin
season.
were Ohio State teammates. But now I think they're a little more in with the rookie QB. McLaurin should be coming back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nothing fantasy-wise with Haskins in there. But I think McLaurin has a good lineup or a good matchup against the Jets. And I just a gut feeling he's got to catch some more balls
Yeah.
from his ex-teammate. And then I'm swiping right or swiping left on Allen Robinson versus Jalen Ramsey. I don't even care the team.
Yeah.
I'm set against Jalen Ramsey, okay?
That's who he's going to be going up against.
Yeah. You go Trubisky versus an elite corner, advantage elite corner.
Yeah.
All right, so that's
Average
that's the hard
corner,
part.
advantage average corner. Crappy corner, it's toss up.
Trubisky, black cat on field, advantage black cat. That's just
Exactly.
how it's been for Trubisky, except for Detroit. He had a few good touchdown throws there. But against Jalen Ramsey, he'll probably shut down Allen Robinson and make everyone else beat him there. So that's who I'm going to be sitting.
All right, and then our waiver wire quarterback, I mentioned him earlier here.
Yeah.
If Derek Carr is probably out there, because I had him last week and he had a stinker of a game. Like, he played well. I watched that whole game and he
Right.
played well. It's just the Raiders were up enough and able to run Josh Jacobs. They didn't really haven't. They had one passing touchdown, so that kind of capped his upside. But this week he gets to play the Bengals.
Yeah.
And when you get to play the Bengals lately, you score lots of fantasy
Scored
points.
tons of points.
So-
Especially Lamar Jackson.
So Derek Carr, I know there's got Russell Wilson on a bye. If you just pick up Derek Carr, plug him into the lineup, I think you'll be a lot happier this week.
Yeah, well, a little bit. We were watching that game with the Chargers, and they kept giving short fields to the Raiders with all those.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't need to
interceptions.
throw. I mean, it was just kind of some funky stuff where he played well. It just didn't translate to fantasy points.
All right, well, that's a good pick up there. And oh, how the turntables have turned.
Well. How the turntables.
Still the best show out there on Netflix. All right, so
For
players.
now, until it's gone.
Oh, don't do that to me. I'll have to buy so many more streaming things. We haven't even talked about Disney Plus. Oh my goodness. Anyways, players who can buck the trend either for better or for worse here. I'll start us off here.
Start us off on a positive note.
Ronald freaking Jones.
Yeah.
We had a good week. He was on anyone that runs a fantasy thing was talking about him because of the plug. They showed it. They showed up and did exactly what they said.
Yeah.
Arians.
He didn't lie to us.
So he's finally being utilized. I see an upward trajectory with Ronald Jones now because now they're saying they can use him in the pass game because those route trees are starting to mature. So I think you're going to be used a lot more.
Okay.
And I think the matchup starts not really too favorable. He's got New Orleans this week, so they know him out there. But the volume is going to be stuffed down his throat. Just worried about Peyton Barber getting some goal line.
There was
touchdowns.
another quote from Arians this week where he was saying he can do more in the passing game. So that just kind of gives credence to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
If he picks up a couple more receptions, I mean, you're looking at a pretty solid fantasy option. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. I kind of wanted to see this is kind of a rest of season thing. You're probably looking at him as being a pretty good option for you.
Right.
Just to give them some perspective here. If you have, say a Phillip Lindsay or Ronald Jones rest of season, where do you lay on that? Although I know Phillip Lindsay's your boy, but
Yeah, he's my boy. I don't have him on any of my rosters this year, but I would go Ronald Jones
rest of season.
rest of season.
Yeah, just because of that quarterback situation, I think. in
Quarterback
Denver.
situation, if Freeman keeps coming around and taking things from Lindsey once in a while.
And then we'll move
Royce
on.
Freeman.
We'll move on to my guy here, who I would insert as someone that I would rather have Ronald Jones instead of this guy. So I'm going negative this week. Austin Eckler.
Poor guy.
I'm getting afraid for Austin Eckler here. He saved his game last week with a receiving touchdown. But if he didn't have that, it was a terrible game. I think he had like 6 carries. He only had 2 targets last week. That is not the game you want from Austin Eckler. He is supposed to be your PPR machine, getting all sorts of receptions. And the thing is, this is directly coinciding with the new coaching staff. Once they fired their offensive coordinator, they have turned more to Melvin Gordon. They've gone to more of the ground and pound. They're not looking to dump off as much.
Right.
And so I think that, Austin Eckler was somebody that you've been able to count on through this whole year. He really hasn't even given you a really bad week yet. But I just see his future being one that you're going to just be upset more times than not when you put him in your starting lineup.
Yeah, he was like start a season. Eckler's
know.
up here.
I know, he was
Gordon
RB1 for a while.
stuff, and yeah, it stinks. But that's how fantasy rides. If you just sit on your draft, you probably won't win or get to the playoffs.
Yep.
You got to be able to go.
Got to stay invested.
Season.
Got to be on those waiver wires.
Yes.
Picking up Ronald Jones.
Spending all that fab.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we got for you this week. Hopefully next we'll get Ryan in. But if you miss Ryan, that means you must listen to our 757 episodes that we have because he makes those. He's able to schedule those in. We're working
Yep.
in. So if you're a big Ryan Mekis fan, tune in on our next episode because he'll be there. But just for this episode, you got me and Bacon.
Yeah. Chris and Bacon. Yeah. All right. See you guys.
All right, see you.